Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel. I am on video number 3 of 4 that I'm filming today. Today I am going to be talking about my April book haul, and yeah, I got a pretty good chunk of books in April as well. I was trying to slow down my book buying, but then of course when I tell myself, not really going to get a whole lot of books this month, Book Outlet has a sale, and then I have some other books here. Some are pre-orders. I did win a giveaway. I got a book for review, and a couple were for book boxes and things like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into it, and hopefully this video isn't too long. But actually, before I get into the books that I have or that I got in April, I wanted to show off a new book sleeve that I got, and it's this one. I'm gonna take it out the plastic. This is actually a custom sleeve that was done by Baby My Book, and it's Illuminate themed. I am so happy with this. When she was getting ready to do this custom design, she kind of gave out some different options, and this was the quote that I wanted, and it just says, "Every story needs its monster. The monster is me." Obviously there's more to that quote, but this is one of the quotes from Obsidio, which is the final book in the trilogy. And on the back we just have like code, and then it says, "I am Aiden." And I just love it. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's taller and it's wider than I thought it was going to be. But I absolutely love this. It is amazing, and I'm sure I'm going to use it, but if I don't use it, it's amazing just to display, because you guys should know this by now. I don't know. I haven't really talked about it too much, but I absolutely love this series. One of my favorite series of all time. And I'm so happy I have this book sleeve to show that off with. Anyway, I'm gonna stop gushing about this, and I'm actually gonna get into the books now. So in April, I actually only had 2 pre-orders. The first one that I have is Food Wars Volume 23 by Yuto Sakuda. I've been saying this for quite a while now, but I can't really get into too many details about this volume because of spoilers for earlier in the season, what am I talking about? Earlier in the series. But this kind of picks up where it left off in volume 22, and then also the rest of this volume kind of centers around Soma's dad and his backstory and what was going on while he was in school, and how what happened during that time led to what's going on in the current day. I've read this already, and I'll talk more about this in my wrap up for April, which should have went up last week, so definitely go check that out. And the other book that I had pre-ordered in April was Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. This book follows this girl who is born during the it's like post-Civil War, I believe, and she is going to this school, or maybe she is finishing up at this school that is basically a finishing school / combat school. So they're teaching these kids their etiquette, but they're also training them in order to be able to fight this new enemy. And basically in this alternate history type book, the people who have died are starting to raise again. So that's what these students are actually going to this school partly to learn. So we follow this girl who is enrolled in a school, and she is like about to go back to serve her family, or go serve the family that she was working for, or something like that. And some other things are happening. I don't really know all the details because I really don't want to know too much going into this, but I have heard amazing things. I will say that quite a few of these are on my TBR for the month, or maybe not. Like a handful of them maybe are on my TBR for May. So definitely go check out that video if you haven't already. But next I am going to talk about a book that I got in a giveaway. I won a Goodreads giveaway. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember when I read it or when I won that giveaway. But I won Smothered by Autumn Chiklis. I believe that's how you say the author's name. And I believe now that there is actually a new cover for this, and it got pushed back Because at first this was being released as like a YA crossover novel, but now I believe they're either marketing it as a new adult or an adult contemporary novel. The main character is actually, she has just graduated from college, and now it's time for her to get back into the real world. But that actually, for her, that actually means going back home, and she doesn't really want to go back home. So I think this is just going to follow this main character as she kind of finds her way in the world after basically being done with school and seeing where she's going to go from there, and kind of, you know, growing into herself. The next book that I have here is Beartown by Fredrik Backman. This is a book that I received for review from Atria Books. I don't really know too much about the story, but from what I do know, this follows this small town, and the town is only really known for its junior hockey team. And there is a murder in this town, and that causes a lot of things to kind of go wrong, and I think that might possibly affect this hockey team in some way. That's all I really know about it, so hopefully that is somewhat right, but I will definitely find out. I have this one on my main TBR, so hoping I can definitely get to this one in May. The next couple books I'm going to talk about are ones that I got in different book boxes. So the first ones I'm going to talk about were in a Page Habit unboxing. I decided to pick it up because, like I mentioned in the video, I was able to get I got a code to get a free book with one of the monthly boxes, and then I also really wanted the book that was coming in that month's box. And I believe this is actually the March box, but I didn't get it to early April, so I couldn't put it in my March book haul, but whatever. I'm talking about it in this one. The first one, which is the book that I got for free, is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. And from what I know, this follows a necromancer, and she is responsible for keeping the royal family in power or something like that. And somehow these people, like, she could bring these people back, but they have to stay completely covered, or they will turn into like these zombie type things. And it comes out that somebody is possibly making these zombie like raised from the dead people instead of just however they normally are, when she brings them back on purpose. And there's a lot going on with that. I know that's probably a really bad description, but I haven't really looked at the description since like I first put this on my TBR, and I think this was one of my most anticipated books for the year. I have heard some good things about this one, so I'm definitely obviously looking forward to this, and this cover is just so pretty. And then the second book, which was the main book in the box that I had picked up, was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I really don't know too much about this story at all. I just know that the main character somehow gets into spoken word, I believe, and this entire book is told in verse. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I have seen a few people talk about it, but I really haven't heard too much about this book, but I was already interested in it, and it sounds good, and I'm sure I'm gonna love this one. So the next book I have came in my April Outcrate box, and that is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This book follows this girl who ends up having to follow her mother to a city of sin in order to try to save her after she goes missing. And she ends up getting entangled with some guy there who is trying to pay off some debts. And he doesn't really want to help her, but I think he eventually decides to help her after she offers to pay him. I've been hearing mixed things about this one, but I'm still really interested in it. And the last book that came in a box, technically, but it was like a launch box for this book, so I don't know if that counts, but that is Atlas Fallen by Jessica Pierce. So this book follows a girl named Tesla, and she used to be a part of her space station's elite flight training program, but something happens and she ends up being stripped of her rank and basically having to work in the slums in order to kind of make a living for herself. And then we also follow a character named Daxton, and he is coming up aboard the space station in order to look for a terrorist, and he ends up enlisting Tesla's help. and some things go down between them. Haven't read this one. Another one that's on my May TBR, so I will let you guys know what I think about this once I read it. The last book that I have to talk about before the book outlet portion of this haul is A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. And I decided to get this copy. It's kind of a long story. I wanted this edition because I believe that this book is finally coming out in the US, or has finally come out in the US, but the cover is a lot different and I really wanted this cover. And yeah, so I had to go. I was looking on Book Depository. It wasn't on there, and I ended up going on Amazon UK and ordering the copy from there because, like I said, I wanted this edition. So yeah, I'm happy I got it because look at it. Pink I don't care about. I mean, it's pretty, but the foiling is just, it's amazing. And I don't know why they changed the cover for the US. This is beautiful just the way it is. But anyway, this book follows this girl who is a selective mute. I'm not exactly sure how long it has been since she has talked at school, but I believe in other settings or with people that she's really close with, she'll talk. But because of this, she has learned sign language. So when this new boy transfers to her school and he's actually deaf, she's tasked with kind of showing him around and helping him get used to his new surroundings, because she is the only one, I believe, that understands sign language. So because of this, they kind of get closer and a relationship develops between the two of them as the time goes on. I have heard really good things about this book as well as this author, and I'm happy that I finally decided to pick this up. So now it's time for the book outlet unboxing. I don't know if you've seen like the top of this box this entire video, but yeah. And I also got a $5 off coupon, and this isn't one of the ones that you have to spend a certain amount. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this yet. If I don't, then I'll probably give the code away to someone, because I believe I have 3 months to use this. I need to stop buying on Book Outlet, because when I buy on Book Outlet, I tend to get way more than I typically would at a time. So I think just last month I had Book Outlet order in my book haul, and I think I got like 9 books. And in this order, I think I got 10 or close to it. So the majority of these books that I picked up in this order were manga. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 like normal novels, and then I got a children's book. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that I picked up was The Water Princess, and it's written by Susan Verde and illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. I picked this up because I saw the cover, and then I saw that this was inspired by this story was inspired by a model, and I hadn't heard of this, but I was just like, this, just the cover looks really pretty, so I decided to pick it up, and it was like $9, and I'm trying to like grow my children's book collection, so one day I have something to show off. But yeah, those are the authors, and this is the model that the story is inspired by. And I haven't actually read this one yet, but it's a really quick read, so whenever I do decide to get to this one, it's not going to really take me long at all. So the next book that I have from Book Outlet is The Rook by Daniel O'Malley, and I just actually re-looked at the synopsis of this again today because someone else was talking about this in a reading vlog that I was watching, and they didn't really know anything about it, and I was just like, I know I picked that up, I can't remember what it's about. And it is like a supernatural fantasy paranormal type of book, but this girl wakes up one day and she can't remember anything about who she is, but she has woken up and there are bodies all around her, and it says that the bodies have like latex gloves on or something like that. But she finds a note that her past self has written to her, and she has to figure out who has betrayed her and all of these things, while also trying to figure out who she is and what's going on. So this sounds really good. I think I'm gonna actually put this on my TBR for next month, because it sounds amazing. The next one that I picked up was First and Then by Emma Mills. I decided that I wanted to pick up another book by Emma Mills because I got Foolish Hearts in, I believe it was the December Outcrate box, and I read it, and that was the first thing that I had read by her, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. I thought it was a really cute YA contemporary novel, and I had heard people talking about this one, but it wasn't something that I ever felt like I wanted to read. I just love under these covers. I don't know who did these, how she ended up, it's on the back too. I don't know what she did to get these covers so beautiful. I don't know if it has anything to do with the story, because I know Foolish Hearts, the cover made no sense in regards to the story, but they're still beautiful anyway. But this one follows this girl. Her cousin ends up coming to live with her and, you know, the rest of her family, and I believe he is either on the football team or he tries out for the football team and makes it. So now she is dealing with all of these other people in her life that weren't before, and I believe this is kind of a enemies to lovers type of romance, because I think either it's like the captain or somebody else on the football team ends up becoming more prominent in her life because her cousin is on this football team, and this is something that she is not really happy with, but then she has to deal with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing if I enjoy this one or not, and this is another one that is a possibility of me reading it this month. And the last novel that I picked up is This Mortal Coil, I'm having a hard time saying that, by Emily Suvada. This is another YA sci-fi novel. I'm saying another, I think this is the only one in this haul, but in my TBR I had quite a few YA sci-fi novels, but this one follows this girl. They all follow girls. I need to look for more YA novels that has a male protagonist. But anyway, this follows this girl, and I believe her father works with genetics, and he was working on a vaccine for something, but he ends up getting killed, or he dies somehow, and then it's kind of up to her to try to figure out his studies and kind of do what's best with what she is given or something like that. I don't remember all the details, but I know this is one that I have been interested in since I first heard about it, and finally showed up on Book Outlet. In between, it's just like a coded message, and I think that's what we have on the back as was uncoded. But it says, if you're reading this, it means I am dead. Have completed a Hydra vaccine or chance at survival. You must decrypt it. Never let them take you. So that sounds really interesting. So it's sci-fi, might be possibly also dystopian, depending on how things are gonna play out, which two things that I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. And then the last of the books that I have, like I mentioned, are manga. So the first one that I have here is the only one that is like, I only picked up one volume of it, but that's because when I picked this up, there was only one volume available. But this is Alice in Zurich, Volume 1 by Tetsuya Imai. I believe this little girl has some type of special powers, and this old man ends up taking her in or something like that. I don't remember. I did look it up before I bought it, but I will definitely let you guys know once I read it what it's about for sure and how I feel about this. But I was kind of trying to look for some manga that I hadn't heard anyone talking about, and some things that hopefully I would enjoy. And then the next two mangas that I picked up are both from the same series, even though they aren't like consecutive volumes. But I have the Ancient Magus, I don't know how to say that, Bride Volume 1 and Volume 4 by Core Yamazaki. I'm not really sure if that's how you say that. I'm gonna just say I don't know how to say either of those. But this follows this girl who I'm not exactly sure what she is, but at the very beginning of the story, they basically have her on a trading block and people are bidding on her. And this demon magician, whatever he is, ends up winning the bid, and he takes her to his home, and he basically this is your home now, you know, we're going to get you started on training. And things are gonna go from there. I'm not really sure where the story is headed. I do know because I read the first chapter online before I decided to buy these to see if it would be something I was interested in. And at the end of that very first chapter of the first volume, he was like, yeah, and you're going to be my bride or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure where this is going. When I looked it up, it had pretty good reviews on Goodreads. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I believe that they now have a couple more volumes of this. I think they might have volume 2 and volume 7 as well. So I probably will pick up 2 and then wait to pick up 7 to see, you know, how much I enjoy this series. But I picked these 2 up because these were the only 2 that were available. And I figured I could at least give it to volume 4 before I decide how I feel about it. So of course I could not get it out. So I have to redo this little part. But the last 3 books I picked up once again are all manga, and they're part of the same series. And this is the Dreaming Sun series by Ichigo Takano. This is the same creator of Orange. If you guys have heard the Orange manga series that has been kind of making its way around lately. I haven't picked up those yet, but I plan on it. They're just a little bit more expensive than I am willing to spend right now. But anyway, for Dreaming Sun, I picked up volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3 because they had all 3 of these on Book Outlet, obviously, when I made my order. But this series follows this girl. She's feeling really out of place at home because her mother is dead and her father has gotten remarried, and all her father and her new stepmother seem to care about is her 6-month-old brother. And she ends up skipping school one day and decides that she's going to run away. And she runs into this guy in a park, I believe, and it's like this strange guy in a kimono. I'm guessing that that's not normal in this time that this is happening. And he offers her a place to stay on 3 conditions. The first is she has to tell him why she ran away from home. The second is that she must retrieve his missing house key. And the third condition is to have a dream and fall in love. So, not sure exactly where the series is going to go from there. I looked it up and it had decent reviews from what I can remember. So I decided to just pick up these first 3 volumes. And this is a pretty well-loved author. So I'm looking forward to seeing this and seeing how exactly this goes, and you know what's gonna happen basically in this series. So those are all the books that I picked up in April, and some of them were before April, but obviously these are the ones that I have to talk about in this video. So if you have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. Let me know if there are any of these that I should make a priority, because I have some ideas of some of the books that I would like to pick up first, but I'm always willing to change my mind depending on what people have to say about them. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again in the next one. Bye.